the general idea of the whole piece is about what children believe the future to be in Peterborough or in England or in the whole world, how the world will be in 50 years' time. But some of the kids went further than 50 years, they went 2,000 years, and it's just about how what they believe will be different, what will be scary or better about the future or worse about the future, and they wrote stories about that.
So what are your favourite stories that came out of there?
Indigo.
No, you... Okay, mine was also... no, I quite liked Gladstone Bear and Top Dog. Yeah.
I liked Indigo. Indigo was my favourite, but I also liked Emily, the hairdressers. Indigo is about in the future, football has changed so that now the stakes are a little bit higher, and if you're in the losing team, at the end of the game you get lowered into a volcano. And it's about these two teams, the amazing Anteaters and the epically epic Elephants, and they're like the best teams ever, and they'd never played each other, and it's about that, and well, we'll have to wait and see what the ending is.
Nice. I liked the Gladstone Bear and Top Dog, both best friends, and they have their own rocket, and they just go to Spain.
I think they built it.
Wow.
I think they built their own rocket, and they went to Spain, and then they had paella, and they just had some fun on the beach, made a sandcastle, met a very nice lady called Mrs. Patel, and went to a lighthouse, and then went down a secret passage.
Yeah, they found the secret passage to the beach.
Yeah, there was loads. I mean, we have maybe 800 stories that we go through. So I mean, they're all great stories, but sometimes
you'll find some stories where there's just little bits that are great, and we'll keep them, and you almost forget where they're from. But even just like a name, or so there's a lot where there's like ideas or like a description of the future, and you keep bits like that. So as in you put in about the floating houses and climbing up. You have to climb up a vine to get to school or something like that, and it's. So they're not actually stories, they're just a big description of what the future's like, and so it's really difficult to tell it as a story, but you can keep it in as an element.
Just merge some of the stories together.
Right.
And it's very nice, especially ones that are based in Peterborough in the future, with the big meteorite coming towards Earth. And
size of Australia, isn't it?
Size of Australia, and Liam Burgess has to try and stop
Save the
world. It's very epic. Very nice.
Some of them are absolutely epic stories.
Peterborough Cathedral, and he has to stand at the top. Again, we won't spoil it for you, because that might have made the cut. Work in the show, we'll work with live music and with the stories. So some of the stories we'll actually we will tell them through song. It's not just through action, but also with the live. The company works in many different ways, but with regards to these projects, we found a way that works, because it's so great to retell a child's story. I mean, you can tell a child's story however we would like to tell adults, but when you get a child to write their own story, and the great things that come out of reading their own words is actually the best parts of the story. Sometimes they may say things slightly wrong in there, but we'll try and keep with their language that they wrote.
The only thing that's different about this one is usually when we've done it, we they'll walk around a space and find stories. Yeah, so it's site specific and it's promenade, and so for instance, when we did it in Peterborough before, it was in a shop, and they'd go around the shop and find the stories. Here, it's the stories they're just going to happen in front, and the only thing we've got is the pod.
Yeah. So instead of the children actually being moved from meeting characters, that's the thing that we are trying to work out, how to get that mentality of telling 8 different stories, but being half the cast. Normally it's about five actors, and now it's 3. It's difficult for them they don't move into something else. We have to create that for them. But and we go into their schools. So in fact, it's nice to change their normal assembly hall, I suppose, or into this magical place for them to.